Hello there, Alchemists. What are you not seeing yet? Today I've got the cards covered up, so if you want to check out the timestamps below to get to your doorway, I'm not going to give a closer look, obviously, but please feel free to use the crystals. Okay, choose your doorway, Alchemist, and let's begin the great work. Hello, Alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 1. You chose this beautiful crystal, and you chose this mystery card that we are going to look at in a minute. So what are you not seeing yet? And what I want to do is, before we even flip that over, we're going to go ahead and look at your shadow card, because it will help us determine a lot of which direction that initial truth oracle card goes. Ooh, I'm going this one. Nope, it's this one. Okay. We're going to flip these together. Divine timing. Wrong time, right time, wait. There's something going on in your life and you feel like it's not happening in the correct way or fast enough. And you've been in a stormy place in your mind, covered in thoughts, overwhelming thoughts in your mind around this specific situation. So you're being invited to see that there is divine timing working in the background, and that there's a saying by the Dalai Lama, I believe, that says, like, you know, if you can do something about a situation, do the thing and don't worry because you did something about it. If you can't do anything about a situation, then worrying about it is just a waste of your energy. Now, that's easier said than done. I mean, that's the frickin' Dalai Lama, right? Of course he can do that. We are mere mortals, right? So be gentle on yourself. Let's get a little more information. Fate and fortune, wheel of fortune, karma cycles, divine intervention, and divine detours. Yeah, look, what is going to happen is going to be in your best interest. The wheel of fortune turning in your favor. Look at all this clock. And I mean, you can't, this is amazing, right? Basically, you are being taken care of and guided, and you don't need to worry. You're going to know what to do, when to do, at the right time to do it, because there is a divine quality to what you're not seeing right now, right? Drowned by doing. Busyness, control, letting go. Doing less is sometimes the truest devotion. Look at the juxtaposition here. Being covered and choked by these thoughts. And the wind is a scary storm. And here the wind is being used as a tool to blow away all these thoughts and this feeling of just letting go. I mean, look at this. Wow. You're getting a very specific message that drowning in the thoughts and trying to control this situation is really just futile. And, you know, I mean, it's not going to stop your fate, but it's going to make it a lot more painful while you're waiting around for divine timing to align, right? Whoa, your cards are all jumping out today. Look at that. 2 of Wands. Things are going to move forward. 8 of Wands, going to move forward fast. Whatever the situation is that you have on your mind, if this pile is resonating with you, it is a done deal, because this is all like moving forward, abundance, moving fast. Wheel of fortune again. I think that it's so funny because usually these are really long readings, but I think this is going to be a relatively short reading, because I think the message that you need, the thing you're not seeing, is that the thing you're so worried about is already taken care of. You're taking care of it. You need to trust yourself, and you need to say, what part of this situation is just me being caught up in the wheel of old worries, the subconscious pattern of that if I don't worry about it, if I don't try to control every element, then it's not going to work out. I want you to think back when you overthought things and when you tried to over control things. Did it really help, or did you just send yourself through a couple of extra layers of hell before whatever happened was going to happen? Fortune. Wait. Things are moving. Abundance, moving forward. Wheel of fortune. the will is turning in your favor, letting go of control, letting go of those thoughts. Now, obviously, when I say letting go of control, I'm talking about in the spiritual sense, in the sense of it's more like the healthy detachment idea, right? That you do the best that you can. It's not like giving someone else control of your life or giving up. It's about trusting yourself and trusting the process and trusting your intuition and doing the best you can with what you have and then letting it go. I actually do this thing where I call it dark nighting because it's based on St. John's Cross, Dark Night of the Soul, which it sounds something like Batman, but it's based on the Dark Night of the Soul. There'll be something like this that I'm worried about and that I know that I'm going to obsessively think about. And I'll say, okay, I just take a minute and I say the thing that's bothering me. And I say, I'm giving it to the night. And then I make this hand gesture beside my head, like from almost like pulling the thought from my consciousness to my unconscious or my subconscious. Or you could see it as from yourself to the divine. And I do that beside my ears, like kind of pushing it. And what happens is I say, basically, this is taken care of. So then every time it comes into my mind again, I'm like, nope, I don't have to worry about that thing. It's taken care of. Now, this doesn't say don't do things in your real life to like, so if you're looking for a job, you still have to apply for jobs, right? But you can say, I don't have to worry about all the details because it's being taken care of. Because when you over control things, you start narrowing your possibilities, right? Okay. Let me just pull an angel number for you to close this very fortunate, beautiful, very clear. What are you not seeing yet? That you have so many wonderful things coming your way, and you don't need to worry. 1221, taking initiative, change, optimism, joy, communication messages, good news, expression, high vibes. Work with what you have and it will get you places. Count your blessings and acknowledge your dear ones. You will find inspiration and figure out a way forward. You may also be getting some good news soon. This is so auspicious. Good for you. I want to claim this pious energy because it is auspicious. All right. Thank you for being here, Alchemist, and continue the great work. When this starts playing out, please come back and tell me what happened. Please do that because this is so on point. So if this is your pile, this is so on point. All right. I'll see you next time. Hello, Alchemist, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 2. What are you not seeing yet, but that is important for you to know right now? You chose this mystery card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull your shadow card so that we can look at them together, because, you know, what you're not seeing is tightly related to what is hiding in your shadow, right? So we want to make sure that we get that nice and clear for you. Let's take a look. Look at the single, isolation, independent, alone. Please don't run away. Sometimes when we get something like this that hits our shadow, we want to run. But there's a message here for you. Look at this. The feeling of isolation, of being alone in every step. So what are you not seeing now? So there's a few different feelings here. So this is probably going to be for different people. So take what resonates and leave the rest. So the first one is for people who are already single but feel so sad and in such despair, like they don't feel like that they have a lot of friends or they don't have a lot of connections. The other is being in a relationship but feeling isolated and alone. Okay? Or even being in a friend group where you feel isolated and alone. So what are you not seeing yet about this situation? So now we've determined kind of what's going on. A lot of it is that, so here we have independent in between isolation and alone. So isolation feels scary. Alone feels scary. Independent feels empowering. So a lot of people who are single feel like there's something missing. And a lot of people who are single make their lives, and when I say single, I don't just necessarily mean relationships. I just mean like, basically in a space in your life where you're mostly just dependent on yourself and maybe having very few friends, or maybe you have a lot of friends, but you still want a life partner or something. So in this way, our joys can become compartmentalized. And these also look like tears. So it's sort of like the idea that you're waiting for certain things to line up in order to feel whole, right? But, when you start focusing on yourself, on your self-growth instead of what is lacking, there's 2 of these today, instead of what's lacking, then you can go into what could be the most beautiful phase of your life. Being in a phase where you are single and independent, you can find somebody to love. It might be difficult sometimes because you should be in a state where you're working on yourself so that your standards become high. And I think that there is kind of a societal assumption that having low standards but being in a relationship that is miserable is better than being single but keeping your high standards. Because once again, we act like we aren't whole, or we're taught that we aren't whole unless someone else fills that hole. That sounded bad. You get my gist. But you are whole. You don't need another half. You are your soulmate. Breaking us into pieces like this is just part of, honestly, it's part of a system meant to make us feel isolated and alone so that we're more exploitable. If you are strong and happy, whether you're single, relationship, have 500 friends, or have 1 friend, if you are in your core the same strong human being, the same strong soul, then none of that external stuff is going to bring you to despair. Thoughts, feeling trapped, overthinking, in your head, worries, fears, watching, spying, gathering info, envy, trying to figure you out, keeping tabs. Okay, with these 2, along with this, what are you missing? That so much of the pain associated with the situation is from your subconscious thoughts, from those old conditionings, from looking at other people's social media and stuff and saying, I want that. Why can't I have that? Right? Overthinking, feeling trapped in this, trapped in your own teardrops. This is a really difficult one, my beloved alchemist. So please be gentle with yourself. And I want you to take a moment and say you are so brave for even sticking around for this pile, right? So kudos to you for doing the great work. The quiet flame, purpose, stillness, devotion. The truest fire burns without noise. Devotion to yourself. Devotion to yourself. Look at this transmutation between water to fire. So instead of being drowning in your emotion, you create passion for your own life. If this is making you uncomfortable, then that's probably exactly what you need to hear. Jung says, basically what makes us uncomfortable is pretty much like pointing to what needs to be worked on. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pull an angel number for you here at the end, but let's get these cards out first. Oops, one more. Just to expand upon this a little bit. 4 of Wands. So there's the idea here that your life, and 9 of Wands, okay, yeah, is that your life is already on a joyful trajectory. There just needs to be a shift in viewpoint and what you're focusing on. If you're focusing on what's missing, all the empty space here, you aren't seeing that you actually have all these random abundances, right? But it feels like because they're not arriving in a very specific way that you have gotten from the way that you have been conditioned, along with comparing yourself to what other people. But remember, when you look at social media, you're looking at your life against their highlight reel. Their life is not like that 24/7. That's a curated thing. Even the people with the most genuine hearts, they're curating what you see on social media. They're not, because who wants to expose their deepest, darkest, loneliest heart to a bunch of strangers? You don't want to do that. So, of course, you're just getting the highlight reel. Yeah, look at that. All the hidden despair. The World. Yeah, you're ready to end this cycle. Look at this. Okay, so here we have in the middle, we have like despair, defensiveness, an ending of a cycle. And this is, pages are about kind of like childlike energy and wonder, but this specific one also has a feeling of kind of disappointment and despair. This person is holding the moon or holding some sort of mystical star or something, and yet they seem kind of disappointed. And that's what you are. Your mind, your heart, your soul is that star, is that light, is that quiet flame. But it's been so quiet under all these thoughts that you haven't been able to see that. And so I do this meditation where I picture my heart's flame in my chest. It can be any color that feels right for you. And I say, my heart is a dancing flame lit by flowing water. Because the flowing water is your emotions, right? Emotions are energy. Emotions are powerful. So see the flame of your heart with water pouring around it. Not extinguishing it, but lighting it, making it brighter and brighter and brighter, feeding it. Feed your own life. Feed your own joy. What you feed, you become. If you're feeding thoughts about not being enough or feeling trapped, then you're always going to feel like you're not enough and trapped and alone. But here on the end, look at this. 4 of Wands, 10 of Pentacles. These are the happiness cards. These are the joy cards. These are the family cards. These are having fun with other people cards. So when you're able to close this out and start seeing the blessings you have, and you'll start creating more blessings for yourself, because like attracts like. And this, I mean, yeah, this is the law of attraction, of course, but it's also just, it makes sense, right? So if someone's always a really negative person, then people who are more positive aren't necessarily going to want to be around them all the time, right? So if you start, it doesn't mean fake it. See, the thing is that healthy relationships, I always call it this, there's a difference between venting and dumping. In healthy relationships, anyone can vent at any time because they know, both people know, that nobody's going to overload the other person. But dumping is when you dump your emotional baggage and your emotional problems onto another person. And that's what you need to avoid, right? Knowing that everyone's responsible for themselves, but that we're here to support each other and witness each other. Let's take a look at your angel number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good luck. Spirit guides, progress, justice, structures, systems, processes, conditioning, and rules. You are on the right track. Someone from the other side has your back and encourages you to try your best. You will succeed. Observe your surroundings and communicate clearly. It says be sure that everything will fall to pieces. I'm sure it means fall into place. Little typo there. Well, actually, it could be fall to pieces in the old way of seeing things. These pieces need to fall, right? and come together. You are a whole, right? I love the quote by Khalil Gibran. He says, do not love half lovers, do not entertain half friends, right? You are a whole. You don't have to wait for other people to fill you. That's just the cream, right? That's just a bonus. Love yourself. We are social creatures, so you want to make sure you're doing that. And you know, one thing that people forget too is that we always say that almost like we're doing this in isolation. You have to practice this in front of other people, right? And that's the scary part. So like, for example, if you suck at relationships, you need to take some time to yourself and you need to analyze and you need to reflect. But while you're doing that, you need to be trying to improve and practice those things in the relationships in your life, right? Because that exposure, that practice is how you're going to get better and how you're going to rewrite those neural pathways. All right. So yeah, ending the cycle. This doesn't really have to do with whether you're single, whether you're in a marriage, whether you're this. This has to do with your own limiting thoughts, and your own comparisons to other people and to societal expectations. Focus on your inner flame. You've got this. I'm so proud of you. Continue the great work, Alchemists, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Alchemists, and welcome to your initiation through doorway number 3. Today we're asking, what are you not seeing yet? And I kept the oracles hidden on purpose because obviously you can't see what they are yet. Something not obvious to you. So let's go ahead and pull a shadow card for you, because these, if you can't see it, it probably has to do, you got 2 today, probably has to do with something hidden in your shadow. So we're going to just get into the nitty gritty of it. Rose, passionate love, thorns, and short. What are you not seeing yet? Well, it's hard to know just by that, because it could be that love is coming into your life, or that you have had a situationship recently that was very passionate, but very with a lot of upheaval and didn't last long, or you wanted it to last a long time and it didn't. So let's go ahead and check out what's going on in your shadow with this. Oh, I see. You have had to wear a persona and make yourself smaller and smaller in order to make this, even as not as a full relationship. For some of you, it might be a full relationship. For some of you, it's just a situationship. To make this viable, even on the most basic level, you have had to contort yourself. You've had to wear a mask. And I always say this, it's in my Cosmic Jester deck. It says something along the lines of, if somebody falls in love with your persona or the mask that you wear, that mask is going to slip off someday, and you're going to have to wear it forever, which you cannot do anyway, if you want to keep that person in your life. And that's no way to live, right? And there's this idea sometimes that you're like, I can will my way. It's okay. I can sacrifice. You don't want to do that. You don't want to bleed that way. And I also get the feeling for a lot of you, you've tried to cut this cord over and over again, but somehow you get sucked back in. Be gentle on yourself. When we do these kinds of things to ourselves, it has to do with wounds inside of us that we're trying to resolve, or neural pathways that are really well worn, right? And even this, it feels almost like a neural pathway that you're trying to break so that you can rewire it, right? And I just want to say, with these kinds of readings, you're so brave for staying here, because and if it's kind of making you feel uncomfortable and stuff, or even angry, a lot of times that's exactly what you need to hear. Jung says that basically what agitates us teaches us the most about ourselves. So thank you for being so brave and sticking around, even when it's not the most pleasant message in the world to hear, right? Trust divine time. Greater forces at play, release control, all is working out for the highest good. That's trusting that if something's not working out, that there's something better on the horizon for you. So this passion, this pain and stuff, it can become so big in our minds that we can forget there's a whole world out there, a whole universe. There's 8 billion other people out there. Is this one dude named Greg or whatever, or this one lady named Susie really it? The only possibility in your life? This one situationship? They're the only one for you. That's an illusion that was created, right? The idea of soulmates being a singular person rather than, and it's because we want to feel special that we are someone else's soulmate and that they're ours. But really, we have lots of soulmates. You don't have to settle for a soulmate who hurts you. They could be one of your soulmates, but if they're hurting you, then they're not ready for that soulmate connection, right? And you need to move on and find a soulmate that is ready. Trusting yourself and trusting divine timing. Sometimes there's a lot of things you have to learn, because think about it. If you're in a mental and emotional state where you did something like this, there's no shame. I've been through it. Millions of people go through it. Then the person that you attract is probably not the person you're going to want to be with in a few years. If they aren't on a growth trajectory. You're on a growth trajectory, right? Because you're here. You're clearly on a growth trajectory. Wait, why is that word so hard? Trajectory. And if they're not on a growth trajectory as well, then you're going to outgrow them so fast, it's not going to be a viable relationship anyway. You want to be with someone who's on the same kind of growth trajectory as you, or you want to keep working on yourself till you're at the level where you are matching and finding that soulmate that is. Home frequency, resonance, belonging, peace. When you vibrate as yourself, you attract what fits. What did I say? As yourself, not as the persona. You don't want to have to wear a mask forever to keep a single relationship. You don't want to have to make yourself smaller or bleed for a relationship. The right person that comes in this divine timing will feel like home, will feel like peace, and will love you as yourself. So you attract what fits, not trying to force something that the other person might be fighting against because of their wounds. And remember, when another person is acting out in this kind of way, like maybe trying to push for a situationship or giving you mixed signals or something like that, they want to, people generally try to make it like it's a you problem. But if they're giving mixed signals, that's a them problem. They should be grown up enough to tell you directly that I only want a situationship and not beat around the bush. But a lot of people are very deceptive because they know that you're not going to stick around if they say that you want a situationship. So they breadcrumb you or future fake you or whatever. And you deserve better than that. And so I would say ask these things directly at the beginning so that you don't hook your emotions in based on them just trying to get a certain thing out of you. Look at all this beautiful energy coming when you learn to hold your boundaries and find your peace from within and vibrate as yourself at your frequency. So this is about boundaries. This is about your frequency. This is about the magic that's unfolding in your life when you get into that energy and you're not wearing this persona anymore. It will unfold naturally. You do not have to chase it, right? And the kind of passion that will come from that won't hurt, right? It's not that everything's perfect, but you and that other person will have such a beautiful framework for how you deal with and interact with each other that there won't be the roller coaster or the constant bleeding, right? The constant bleeding. Let's go ahead and pull a... Oof. This person has, if this is your pile and that's resonating with you, this person has done a number on you. I feel it, like you feel like you've had to just keep shrinking so they don't disappear. You feel like you have to, that you think you know what's going on, and then you're thrown for a loop the next day and just back and forth, and you deserve better than that. And I know after this experience you're going to build some boundaries. And you're going to go back to being, you're not going to try to wear a mask. You're going to be your authentic self, but you're going to build a boundary around it. Because a lot of times these situations make people hard or bitter, but that's not you. You're going to keep your authenticity here, and you're just going to build a wall around it that people have to prove that they are safe before you let them cross into your sacred home. 2121 energy levels: prosperity, harmony, journey, waiting, discipline, exaggeration, the opposite sex. That day you're waiting for will come. Maintain discipline. You're getting closer to your end goal. There's no need to overextend yourself. Guard your energy to remain focused. It will pay off. It's a climb, not an elevator ride. Trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. Prosperity, harmony. Harmony within reflects harmony without, right? Be looking out for this angel number and keep up the great work. You deserve to be yourself and the right people. There's, remember, 8 billion people out there. This one situationship or whatever, this one confusing situation is not your only option in the world. And if someone makes you feel like it is, then that person is definitely not a good option for you, right? Because a person who has your best interest at heart and loves you would never say, I'm the only one that can make you happy. You know, that's toxic language. So, all right. Continue the great work, Alchemist, and I will see you soon.